people still getting settled, so let them get in the room. All right, well, welcome back. It's been a little while since this group met. Welcome again to the Family Navigation Work Group. We're going to hear 3 presentations to start off this morning. Last time we talked a little bit about what's going on within the system relating to family navigation, and there certainly are a lot of things. And so we're going to hear about a few of those today. And while our remaining speakers are getting logged into the Zoom, I will share one of the efforts that we had talked about having a presentation on was Navigate EC. And I connected with that team, and where they are in their timeline right now, it didn't make sense for them to come in this month, but we are working with them to come in for an upcoming meeting. So more updates on that effort coming soon. That is, for those who need a reminder, Navigate EC is an effort right now to transition the Kansas Quality Network into a website called Navigate EC, which is a really designed to be kind of a landing spot for people to navigate resources who are for families, for communities, and for service providers. So it's very much still in the works. They just have had some staffing transitions with their partners, and just felt like it made sense to come back to us in a few weeks. So stay tuned on that. But for today, we're going to hear about 3 equally exciting initiatives, which is how we'll use the first part of our time. And then we will use that to ask any questions, get a sense of, is there an opportunity potentially to connect the work this group wants to do to those initiatives, or just make sure we know where there might be opportunities for alignment. And we'll use the rest of our time to go back to the Jamboard we started in March and really focus in on what is this group interested in working on over the next few months. So I know we have Stephanie here. And we will also be having Amber and Pamela join us. I don't know, Gail or Stephanie, if you're able to check in with them. I know we're a couple minutes early, so certainly understand if they're not able to join just yet.
I just messaged Pam to let her know that we're starting. Okay. So she should be joining shortly.
Perfect. All right, well, while we're waiting, does anybody have any updates or questions or anything they would like to share with the group? Well, Stephanie, would you, I hate to put you on the spot, would you be willing to go first while we have Amber and Pamela get settled in?
Yeah, I'm happy to do that.
Perfect. So just as a reminder, we're going to hear, we happen to have 3 people from, in addition to Gail, from KCSO, which we really appreciate your time. And we're going to hear from Stephanie about 1-800-Children's, and then we'll hear from Pamela Noble and Amber Miller about the Family Resource Center and standards, as well as Help Me Grow. So they'll each have a few minutes to share a little bit about the initiative, and then we'll have time to ask any questions that the group has. So Stephanie, let me give you, actually, Clayton, are you able to give Stephanie permission to share? I think I'm not able to do that.
She should be able to now.
Perfect. All right.
Yes. Okay, so I am actually going to include Help Me Grow in the information that I share. So first, my name is Stephanie Boone. I'm the statewide information and referral supervisor at Kansas Children's Service League. So I supervise the 1-800-Children resource. Thank you very much for inviting me here to share more with you about Help Me Grow and 1-800-Children. I do want to note that while 1-800-Children is a part of the Help Me Grow Kansas system, KCSL doesn't hold the agreement for Help Me Grow. So for the purpose of your consideration today, I'll share some high-level information on the Help Me Grow framework in Kansas. So Help Me Grow is a national framework that Kansas adopted in 2017. The overarching goal is to support healthy childhood development through an organized, interconnected system of community resources, bolstered by engagement and collaboration among providers and communities. So the framework aims to achieve this through 4 core activities. The first is through family and community outreach in order to increase awareness of healthy child development. Second, child health provider outreach to strengthen early intervention efforts. Third, collect data for analysis that can provide insight into the effect of current efforts and guide future efforts. And fourth, establish a centralized access point that will connect any family or provider to the support that they need. And this is where 1-800-CHILDREN fits into that bigger framework. 1-800-CHILDREN serves as a centralized access point for Help Me Grow Kansas. Right. So 1-800-CHILDREN currently offers 4 avenues for support. We have a call line that is available 24/7. We are available by text or email. We have a resource directory that's available online, and that's at 1-800-CHILDRENKS.org. Our resource directory is also available as a mobile app as well. It's available for Android and Apple devices. Currently, call staff are able to provide support to callers and help connect them to needed resources. And our current workflow also includes follow-up. So after we have talked to somebody on the phone, provided they are agreeable, we will follow up with them just to ensure that the resources that we provided to them were helpful, they were able to get connected. And often at those follow-up appointments or the follow-up calls, we're able to kind of see if there's any other needs that have come up. So a good example of this, we had a mom that called. Her immediate need was just figuring out how to get her child to get into the car without a meltdown. It was happening consistently. It was really difficult for her. That was the big issue. And so once we were able to kind of talk through some things that she could try on that follow-up phone call, that situation was much better for her. And that second conversation was when she talked about her husband being gone on deployment and talked about maybe counseling would be helpful for her and her son. And at that point, we were able to get them connected to counseling. But that initial phone call, just getting her son in the car and to daycare in a timely manner was really what she needed to focus on in that call. So those follow-up phone calls have been very helpful. So we have very, very exciting next steps. I think this is my favorite slide out of all the 3. It's really exciting to see what we have in store. So in the coming months, we're going to be able to provide ASQs to callers that would like to check in on their child's development. So far, we've trained 1 call line staff, and we're working to lay out our workflow and kind of working on the details of that process. So not something that's available yet, but something that we're working on. On a similar timeline, IRIS and Find Help, which Find Help provides a platform for our resource directory. So IRIS and Find Help are working to integrate IRIS and 1-800-CHILDREN. So this would allow call-in staff to send referrals through IRIS for callers. Again, this is in the beginning stages, not something that we're doing yet, but something that we're working on and that we're working on testing probably in Sedgwick County. This year particularly, we're almost starting year 3 for PDG, so we're working to establish consistent funding, looking at what funding can help sustain us after PDG. This would enable 1-800-CHILDREN to be consistently reliable support of families in Kansas. We have a community engagement and marketing coordinator, Caitlin Moore, and she is working to increase awareness and utilization of the resource across the state. We saw incredible engagement with our database following our social media marketing campaign. So as we enter this next grant year, the end of this month, we're looking to adjust our marketing campaign to move from increasing awareness to increasing utilization. So not just looking at the resource database, but searching, not just knowing about the call line, but actually calling. We're also exploring non-traditional avenues for engagement, So exploring putting promotional materials in laundromats, in secondhand stores, convenience stores, food banks, places where maybe we don't usually do engagement or put our promotional materials. And also looking at connecting to groups that we wouldn't not traditionally connect to, like local kind of informal social media groups for local moms. We're looking at groups like that, or magazine ads. So those are kind of the things that we are working on currently that we have coming up. At this point, I'm happy to answer any questions or clarify anything for the group.
I have a question. So this group is, we recently shifted from focusing on family partnership to family navigation. And it sounds like you have some fantastic next steps, and certainly kudos for the work that you all have done to date. I know it's not been a small lift. I'm just thinking, for the purposes of the conversation, this group that we'll have in a little bit, are there things that from your perspective that you feel like are still opportunities to help connect families a little differently through 1-800-Children, or just we're kind of brainstorming, like how can we support your work, or how can we kind of help have conversations that are still a little bit down the road around how can we continue to build on this foundation?
That's a very great question. I don't know that I could do justice without some time to ponder.
That's okay. I put you on the spot, and we can certainly have a we can, we'll continue to have the conversation. I'm seeing the chats and the comments about the ability to do ASQs, and I agree that is a really fantastic integration.
I think I would say maybe one thing that I know, there's a lot of knowledge about the fact that we have a resource database, the usefulness of that, the fact that it's a mobile app, you can download that to phones. But I think that call-in staff being available 24/7 just to listen to somebody is a pretty unique service. If I had trouble getting my daughter in the car in the mornings, I don't know if I didn't have a really strong support system, close family, I don't know who would you ask for something like that? If it's 3 a.m. and your baby is crying and you just need another adult to talk to, like those are moments that there aren't always people available then. So knowing that 24/7, whatever it is, there's somebody that's willing to listen to you that gets it, that's pretty unique, a pretty unique piece of this resource, I think. Let's see, I'm looking through. So ASQ screenings, the follow-up after screening. So that is one of the details that we're thinking about at this point. So there will be a follow-up. The intent is that if that screening indicated that there was further testing, further monitoring needed, that person would then be connected to their local Part C. But further details of what that looks like, that's what I'm working on currently, is what that looks like, and how do we really make sure that that is a warm handoff for that person. So not just, you should probably call somebody, but here's, looking at referrals, what that looks like is what the stage that we're at, is kind of figuring those things out.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. I think if you're willing to stick around for a little bit and see if any other questions come up, that would be great. If not, that's also fine. We know where to find you now, but really appreciate your time. I think with that, I'm going to ask Amber if you would be willing to share a little bit more with us about the Family Resource Center and standards.
Sure. Good morning. Hope everyone is well this morning. Well, just kind of a brief overview of the work that we're doing. KCSL received a contract from DCF late fall to begin basically research and identifying and implementing family resource centers across the state of Kansas. For some of you that might not be aware of what family resource centers are, they are a welcoming place in the community where families can access formal and informal support to promote the whole family's well-being, not only in times of crisis, but as a regular part of their day-to-day life. They can be community or school-based, and they look very different in communities because communities have very different needs of their families. Services are typically provided through collaborative efforts that can be public and private community-based organizations. And those services are around areas of parenting support, access to concrete resources, and child development activities, and certainly parent leadership development. A big part of our work with implementing family resource centers is to effectively be a member of the National Family Support Network. And what the National Family Support Network does is it operates as a coordinating body of family resource centers across the country. Kansas is officially part of that National Family Support Network, and we do receive technical assistance and support in helping move our work with our local communities, establishing the family resource centers. And we do that by working with other states across the country, listening to their successes and their barriers as they implement the work as well. The National Family Support Network, they do have a specific model and certified training approach. It is called the Standards, which I do believe that I sent a flyer to Megan that you all have that goes into it more in depthly. But essentially what it is that is something that is required to be part of the NFS network. The Standards is basically a common language and a practice ensuring families are supported through a quality level of services, but it's also utilized as a tool for any existing or implemented family resource center on planning, providing, and evaluating the work that we're doing. KCSL actually established the Kansas Family Support Network not too long ago. And really what that means is that we are part of, as I said, the National Family Support Network, but we are moving our work in Kansas and working with organizations and key stakeholders who are very interested in the Family Resource Center model and the standards work. The Kansas Network hosted our first standards training in late February, where that is a certification standards training. And we actually had 36 participants across the state of Kansas. So that was very exciting. Again, very new work for us. And I feel like it's moved very, very quickly. When I think about the things moving forward and what will this look like in the next couple months, we will be hosting another standards training for anyone in Kansas who's interested. It'll be probably late summer. That's certainly something that our network wants to be able to provide as we move this work forward, is technical assistance to those who are interested in implementing family resource centers who are already identified as family resource centers doing this work in Kansas communities, and then be able to provide that local support of what's working, what's not, what funding's out there, those types of things. I'd be happy to answer any questions that anyone has. That was a really quick overview of all the work that we've been doing in a short amount of time. Yes, and Heather, I'm reading the chat now. So another exciting piece of that is that the standard certification training really is for entities who want an overview of what the standards is to get really integrated in what that looks like. But then we were able to be able to have 4 train the trainers for our state, 3 with lived experiences, and 2 of them are parent supports that Heather had reached out to me and identified. And so those 4 individuals will be also able to train any organizations or individuals who are interested in implementing the standards. So that's very exciting as we start this work. And I would also say if anyone has a need for more information on family resource centers, please reach out to me. If you know of any organization or you would like more in-depth information, please reach out to me. We're doing a lot of community presentations, making the state aware of what family resource centers are and how we can obviously identify and implement them throughout the state.
Hey, Amber, this is Kate Regenbaum. I just wanted to let you know, I had a conversation with Foster Adopt Connect, and they are talking about a family resource center in the Wichita area at some point. So maybe everybody can connect and work together to come up with something for everybody. So they kind of are looking to do that. They're trying to secure grants now.
Yes, thank you. And one of the things I might just touch on with the work that I've been doing with the National Family Support Network is really that that the Family Resource Center is serving multi-generational families. So it isn't just parent and child, but it's serving the whole family, because we're really looking at that approach, the whole family work and what that is and how we support the whole family. And so, there isn't a wrong door when it comes to family resource centers, that anybody would be able to walk in and get the support and access any resources in not based on eligibility requirements. Whether you're a child under the age of 5, those services are wrapped around the entire family. Any other questions? I see Gail might be.
No, I don't have a question. I was jumping to some of our work after this presentation of things that we can do. So sorry, I'm just going to make a little note.
No, I actually think that's really good timing. I think we have several other KCSL staff members here, so I think hopefully to kind of listen to the conversation. But I think my ask would be, is there anything this group can do to support the work that you're doing or help kind of connect and make sure we're aligning appropriately? And Gail, it sounds like you may have some ideas.
Well, I was just thinking that, one of the things that maybe the panel could consider, and it goes a little bit to what Kate said, is how do we get the word out about the standards, that there is a common language, and because I know that family resource centers is kind of a buzzword right now, and not that they're not good, but I do want to, if we're really going to do this from a statewide perspective and from an early childhood recommendations panel, is that we are, promoting best practices. And so, if we can think through how it's going to fit with all of the stuff that we're working on, and then make sure that people are aware that that's our preferred preference, if that's what comes out of the recommendations panel. I hope it does. Sorry, I digress. That was my shameless plug for, but I do think that could be the role that the panel serves and that this committee serves.
Well, and perhaps too, we could offer trainings. So, we do have 4 trainers. We have to have 2 trainers per training. and a technical person as well. So it takes 3 people to do the training. So just, having, and our maximum per training is about 30 really, if you want to do it very effectively. So kind of keep that in mind. But I don't think it would be a bad thing to necessarily offer it to the entire EC panel, quite frankly, because it does give a common language. We do have a lot of people at the table here. I even gave it, Children's Mercy is developing a family resource center as well. And I'm on the family advisory board for them and gave them some information, and they were very interested in learning about it. So.
Thank you, Heather. And also I'd be willing to, share any insight that, Elise, and I should introduce Elise. I saw Elise jumped on here. Elise is our Family Resource Center community organizer, who is also a certified train the trainer of the standards. But I'd be happy to share with any, organization or entity that's interested in Family Resource Center work, what exactly, we have learned on the national side through all the states. There are 39 states now that are using the model. And so it's been very, very helpful. Their barriers, their successes, and funding looks very different with all of those states. So I'd be happy to be able to share that information too.
And I just want to, since we're part of we've been talking about family partnership and navigation, I just want to call out to Heather and Kate, who really helped us push back with the even nationally. So Kansas is kind of leading even in this. We are one of the few states that actually has parents who are certified trainers. And we've been continuing to push that envelope with them so that more states do that. If you're talking about true family partnership, and working with parents from the beginning, having them involved in the training and being able to do that is so critical. So I want to thank Kate for stepping in to be interested in doing that. And then Heather for connecting with us and getting us connected to some parents that would be interested in doing that.
Thank you. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to do it and helping us push them a little bit. So.
Yeah, very excited to see this coming to Kansas. We actually reached out to the national network several years ago, and there wasn't a lot of opportunity at that point. And so excited that KCSL is our affiliate, and we can really get all this work going in Kansas. So I'm just really excited to continue the partnership with you guys too. And we'll be sending more families your way. If you want more trainers, just let us know. We'll gear them up and we'll get them ready for you.
Are there any other questions about any of this work? Okay, well, thank you again so much to Amber and Stephanie, excuse me, and Pamela and Elise for being here, and Gail for helping to have so many of your staff take some time out of their day. I know they likely have many other things going on. We really appreciate you all sharing more about this work, and again, so much credit to you all for leading this. It's really exciting to see for Kansas, and we appreciate you sharing a little snapshot of where you are and where you're going. If it is okay with the group, I think it makes sense to take our break now. We're about 5 minutes ahead of schedule, but we'll take a 10-minute break. You all are more than welcome to stay for the conversation if you'd like. If not, that's absolutely fine. We will come back at about 5 after 10 and then go back to our Jamboard and start thinking about what we want to do with this group, which may be connected to the presentations we heard, or maybe you have some other ideas. So enjoy your break and we'll see you in 10 minutes. Thank you. Welcome back. Hope you all had a nice little break, little screen break. So we have until 10:30, and then we'll go back to the main room. And Gail has graciously agreed to do a little report out for us today. So thank you. So I will screen share here in just a minute, and we'll go back to our Jamboard. And again, this is kind of, if there are ideas, I know we've brought up a couple about what this group can do. That could be to draft a recommendation, that could be to kind of identify where we think there are opportunities for collaboration. Could also be how can you individually take some of this back into your own work and help build awareness, or whatever that might look like. I would generally say think about things that seem of interest over the next 2 to 3 months, something like that. But that being said, I would say if you have an idea, let's throw it on the board, and we can always talk about the logistics later. And then actually, before I screen share, I'm going to put the link to this in the chat so that you all can be on it as well. Okay, so for anybody who is going into the board, that I am currently on slide 6, or board 6. So these were the posts that you see up here from last time. So certainly we can pick up if there are, if there's anything that we want to continue the conversation from March. I know there's this National Family Support Network Train the Trainer efforts. Obviously, we just heard about that, as well as Help Me Grow. But I'm going to open the floor now. So if anybody has ideas from that we've already mentioned that we want to put on the board officially, or just feel free to throw anything that you're thinking about out.
I guess I'll break the silence. I mean, where my mind is at is just, how do we leverage our networks and our geographical areas to just help get these messages out, these programs out, and make connections? And do we do some sort of mapping of that based on, where each of us are located, and the organizations? And I don't know, that's just kind of where I'm thinking, is how do we enhance the marketing piece, communications piece here.
This is Heather Staub. I agree that, Crystal, that's exactly kind of where my mind went. And I just keep thinking about like the early rollout of some of the like PDG work when they were first going out to local communities to see what the needs were when they did kind of the beginning of the strategic plan. I feel like we've got all these like positive things going on, but I want to make sure that the local areas have awareness. Something that I think really grasp the full weight of is how much local, really small communities rely on their local libraries. We kept hearing that it becomes like a hub, especially for early childhood. And so I don't know if that is, I don't know, just throwing that out there. I really thought that was interesting in communities where they don't have like a hub, that becomes kind of like a hub. And then also I'm wondering, getting information out to local ICCs. I think those local interagency coordinating councils, there's like over 30 of them across the state, but they're very connected to early childhood already. So I know a lot of work has already been done to connect with those folks, but I guess keeping that in mind, that can be a good mechanism. So I agree though. I think in order for these to become as useful as we know that they can be, we've got to get them into the hands of the people that need them.
So something that this is Natalie McLean. Something that we added into our preschool aged at risk and our Kansas preschool pilot assurances, I think we did it for parents as teachers as well, was add in a requirement that districts and programs needed to add their information into the 1-800-Children site and then share that information with families. I don't know if there's any other programs where we could add that as a requirement.
We did add that to ours also, Natalie. That's
awesome.
A great idea, leveraging those kinds of existing. Sorry, and I didn't mean to cut you off, Natalie. If you had anything else to say.
Nope, that's all I was going to say.
So here's a question. I didn't have one before, Stephanie, but how much like internal auditing of who's on the list is happening, or how much could that be helpful if you had sort of I'm just very familiar with Wyandotte County and the resources here, and I could look at a list and pretty easily tell like who's missing, especially being, we have a really robust IRIS community here. And so like that kind of mapping, and, I'd be willing to get on the phone or contact our agencies and say, you need to get on this list. So sorry, that was a loaded question, but.
I would love to get together and make sure that we have everything for Wyandotte. We've done a lot of presentations to groups and organizations, and then my full presentation part of it is encouraging people to go into 1-800-Children and see if their program is in there. Because programs themselves have, anybody on this call has the ability to go in, and if you see something that's missing, you can suggest that that program be added. If you see a number is incorrect, you can suggest the edit, and then the Find Help team is the one that actually makes that change. And it usually appears within about 48 hours. So the system itself makes it pretty easy for programs to help us keep that, make sure that things are being added. And we always keep that in mind if we're doing a presentation to a smaller community. That, me here in Wichita, I may not know what is out there in Western Kansas, but if I connect with, their public library and ask them, will you look at what's here? Tell me if there's something that's missing. That's worked pretty well for us. So I would be happy to kind of connect with you on making sure that we have everything for Wyandotte.
This is Deanna Schatz. Can you guys hear me okay? Sorry, I'm on the road. I'm just thinking too, I'm going to get with our local ICC and encourage them to take a look, because we are, all over Southwest Kansas, but encourage them to take a look at 1-800-Children and make sure that all the resources in their local community are on there. Because we're anywhere from Ashland to Jetmore to Hanston to Dodge, lots of places. And that way we know that those resources are available. So the ICCs might be a group that we could reach out to.
I had mentioned in my presentation, we have Caitlin Moore, and she can do presentations to these groups. So if you have a group, and it's possible she might have presented to them, but we have a full presentation that she can do. She can walk them through how to check if their program is entered, what to do if they need to update anything. So we do have that available if you have groups in mind.
Stephanie, you guys have like goodies and stuff that programs can pass out with that 1-800 information on it as well too, right?
Yes, I have family outreach cards available in English and Spanish, magnets, pens, sticky notes. I've got quite an array actually.
Awesome. Because I think it's really important that we get the programs in there, but also that the programs are advertising that resource to families.
Natalie, I was just thinking about that. I was wondering if the comment that we made earlier about requiring, where are there opportunities to require partners to list within 1-800-CHILDREN, but also a requirement to share that information with parents and families, because, you know, why have it available if we're not letting people know that it's there?
Right. And our little statement that we have in our assurances has both, that they need to be in there and that they need to be sharing it. And if anybody would like a copy of that, I can certainly, maybe I'll just put it in the chat.
Natalie, this is Heather. I'd like to see that because I don't think that ours is bi-directional, and I think that that's something we would definitely be interested in moving towards in the future. I think that's a great idea. Also, I took down the email of the community engagement and marketing coordinator, but I can definitely send that information out over our listserv to the Part C programs, who then in turn, I think there's also, Natalie, you might be familiar, Jordan, who was the ICC state coordinator, has taken a different position. So we're kind of in flux right now. But I know that there's a list of ICCs. We could email those local folks also, I think, and push out that information in case anybody's interested in getting a presentation. So I will.
I think that's on the ICC website or the state ICC website.
Okay,
I'll see if I can find that real quick too.
Okay, well, I can connect with Trisha because she's. I don't sit on that anymore, so I. It feels like it's been a little while, but yeah. I know that sometimes they, are looking for presentations that would be helpful across all their different kind of community members. And I think that this is one that definitely would.
I do have a provider guide and family outreach card. They're available electronically too, that can make it easy to share information via email.
That would be great. Are those posted somewhere or could you send them to us?
Yeah, I could send them.
That would be fantastic.
I wanted to share, this is Nikki, Natalie, that in our agreements that we are using our child care development funds for, like the resource and referral agreements, we do have requirements that they share the 1-800-CHILDREN information on like their websites and with the information they share with families. And we also have it on like our Kansas Quality Network website right now. So we make sure that we embed that in all of our agreements with DCF with child care development funds right now. As we're talking about this though, I do wonder what kind of usage we're seeing for 1-800-CHILDREN, like as far as, are we seeing a greater increase in people knowing about it and using it, and how that's looking right now?
Yes is the short answer. We did a social media marketing campaign, and we saw a significant increase in visits to the resource database. So I'm like going from 1,000 people visiting it to like 8,000 people, very significant. So the word is definitely out there. We get quite a few people to that resource directory, plus having Caitlin out there doing presentations and talking to people. It's been pretty amazing to see how many people are utilizing this resource.
So I just plugged in a whole bunch of stuff in the chat. Sorry. The first thing I put in there was the statement that we put in our program assurances. But you'll notice it says share the electronic family outreach card, which someone mentioned earlier. And then the other thing I wanted to draw your attention to was that link to the local ICC contacts. If anybody wanted to get that, that'll just take you to the ICC page or the state ICC page. It says on it page under construction, but there's still contacts in there. So I don't know if we're waiting to add more of that, but there's a bunch of contacts there for anybody who wants that.
This is Dana again. I really appreciate KCSL and all their marketing materials. I've actually just stopped in the Wichita office a couple times and say, hey, can I get some more? And we do visit our local libraries and health departments. And so I'm always taking that with me. I just keep a bunch in my car. So I appreciate them, having that at the ready for us to take and use as needed.
We did develop bookmarks, 1-800-CHILDREN bookmarks. So one thing that we're working on right now that Caitlin is working on is connecting with the public libraries across the state to see if they would like some bookmarks. So that's one of the things that we're working on right now that you may see show up in a library.
Was there a community somewhere that made little onesies that had the 1-800-CHILDREN? That would be something really cute if that was something somebody wanted to do.
Yeah, we do have some onesies. We primarily gave those out in Saline County in that area. So I do have some of those available. I don't have a lot of them, but some available. I agree, they were very adorable.
Could you also partner with hospitals to be sending stuff home with families with newborns?
I know that we connected with Becoming a Mom sites. I don't know that we have contacted hospitals directly at this point, but I know Becoming a Mom, those classes, I think in Saline County mostly, Caitlin was working with to see if, to try to provide anybody who went through that class with some materials.
This is Pam. Sorry, I'm on and off mute because I have construction going on in my house and I don't want you to listen to the
again,
drilling.
what about county health departments?
Sorry, I think we had, all right, Dan, if you want to go real quick, and then I'm sorry, I'm not sure who came off mute.
That's okay. I was just saying, what about county health departments? Because I know in Clark County, our health center doesn't give immunizations. They have to go to the health nurse, the county health nurse. So that might be a good place to get some more resources out there too.
Okay, then we had somebody else who came on with a question.
I think it was Pamela.
I have construction going on and off in my house, so I'm trying to get this in while you don't have to listen to the drilling. The question about newborns and hospitals, we discovered when we did the Period of Purple Crying program that brand new parents get so much information when they leave the hospital that it tends to kind of get lost. So we hadn't reached out to do hospitals directly unless we had been asked to do so. We just felt that, and Stephanie can attest to this because she had a newborn baby in June. Parents get so much information that maybe it wasn't the best way to get them that particular information, but we can certainly revisit.
I wonder if even something like flyers or posters or something that could just be posted in the labor and delivery rooms or like the mother baby units, like just around. So it's not like we're giving them something, but they could just be posted in the rooms. We work with quite a few of the hospitals on our breastfeeding initiatives and with BAM and our Becoming a Mom program, our perinatal community collaboratives. So we'd be happy to help make some connections with hospitals or try to see if we could have those conversations when we're going out and stuff like that. But I think if we put something like that together, that would be just a way to put it in front of them without like that overwhelm of handing them something. But I also, the other thing I was going to say is I do believe, and I'll verify this, but at one point in time, there was conversation about we were sending out 1-800-CHILDREN the pamphlets or maybe the magnets or some kind of swag when we were sending the PRAMS survey, which is the Pregnancy Risk Assessment Monitoring System survey. So the random sampling of moms that do get that, that's not every mom in the state, of course, but every new moms will get that PRAMS survey. And so I do think that's another way that we've been putting it out there, trying to get it in the hands of new parents. We're promoting 1-800-CHILDREN everywhere we go, but those are some very specific to new parents.
Well, I'm thinking too, it doesn't have to be like a pamphlet. I'm thinking, just a little magnet or something that you put in there, as opposed to something they have to read. You're right. There is a lot of information, but if there's something like that, that's tangible that they can stick up on a refrigerator or something, that isn't, oh my gosh, I have to read 2 pages about this. I think that's Purple Crying is a little bit different because there is actual information that they have to take in and glean from that. So that's why, I'm kind of thinking in that way.
Sorry, Crystal. I know you and I are both going, hey, Heather, do we have connections that we could, I kind of liked your ideas about posters or flyers, but do we have any connections with pediatricians? Because I know we're talking about the hospitals, but they're there for such a short time. Go to your pediatrician, especially with newborns, on a pretty consistent basis. So I don't know. So definitely what I'm hearing as maybe a potential recommendation is a way to help distribute more materials around 1-800-CHILDREN. Anyway.
And Gail, I'm happy we have a strong partnership with the Association of Pediatrics, American Academy of Pediatrics here in Kansas. And so we would be happy to talk with them. I know Mel has promoted 1-800-CHILDREN, and we've had you guys come actually and talk about it to our council and things like that. But I know she promotes it, but we can absolutely try to work on getting more of that. We are also doing some pilots with pediatric offices to get holistic care coordinators located in the pediatric offices. And so 1-800-CHILDREN certainly is a thing we could be assuring that those care coordinators are promoting. But right now we're only in a couple of offices. So that's not a widespread thing, but hopefully long term. So.
But even to Kate's point, maybe having either something posted in lobbies of those places or having magnets at the desk when you're checking in, if somebody wants to grab that and take it, just
this is Heather. Yeah,
something easy. So
I love that, and I really think that some of this is, for some of these families, it's that just-in-time support, and so them seeing it repeatedly, like at the pediatrician's office, maybe a poster at their local library, maybe then when they're having a moment where they don't know what to do, or they're having a question that they need answered, if they've seen it multiple times, or they have a magnet, obviously. But then, if, you know, we want them to remember it then and use it when they need it. So I think that's awesome and a great idea.
I hate to stop this conversation because it's been really helpful and very productive, but we are due back to the full group. So sorry to cut off whoever I just cut off. I think, as I said, Gail's going to present on this. I think we're in a really good spot to come back. I know there were questions in the chat about, is this like a recommendation? I think we've got time to figure that out. It could be a recommendation. It doesn't have to be a recommendation. When we come back in May, let's pick up where we're stopping and figure out what the next best step is. But I think clearly figuring out how to really leverage the great work that has happened within the system and make sure people are aware of it and build on that seems to be a common theme. So I think there's a lot for us to dig into more in May. And with that, unless there's any quick final comments, I will release you back into the full group, and thanks to Gail for presenting for us.
Absolutely. See you guys in a bit.
All right, thank you.